सत्सङ्गत्वे निस्सङ्गत्वं निस्सङ्गत्वे निर्मोहत्वं निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्वं निश्चलतत्वे जीवन्मुक्तिः पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम् इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे कृपया पारे पाहि मुरा।
सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परा। स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् नारायणः परो व्यक्तसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्थिते इमे लोका सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी। श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय क्षेत्रमित्यभिधीयते एतद्यो वेत्ति तं प्राहुः क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तद्विदः। So in this Kshetra we have seen the shloka which describes in succinct form the nature of the Gneyam, that is the one which has to be known, the Vedantic truth that has to be known for liberation. And this Gneyam is nothing but Nirguna Brahman, and which is the true nature of the Jiva, and which is the substratum for the created world also. In other words, the created world or the creation has been stated to be Kshetram, and that Kshetram includes the body-mind complex, which is also a product of Prakriti, and the one which illumines the entire range of the created world, which includes the body-mind complex through which the outside world is contacted. That is a Kshetrajna, has been succinctly explained as that which is not that which is neither existent, that is which is said to be neither existent nor non-existent. So this is the kind of a conundrum. So Bhagavan himself feels that this kind of definition given to Gneyam needs to be explained further. Otherwise, it will lead to misconceptions. So he embarks upon elucidating what he has stated about Kshetrajna is. He says, he gives a beautiful set of couple of shlokas where the true nature of this Kshetrajna is made intelligible to the hearer. So Bhagavad Pada introduces the shloka by saying, Satchabda Pratyaya Avishayatvat Asatva Shankayam Gneyasya Sarvapranikarana Upadhidvarena Tadastitvam Pratipadayanne Tadashanka Nivrityarthamaha. Satchabda, that is, the Gneyam was stated to be neither Sat nor Asat. And in the Bhashyan, Bhagavad Pada himself stated that in the world, everyone knows that if something is stated to be Asat, that object is non-existent. And only when something is stated to be Sat, that is existent, then only it will be known to be an object which is available for our perception. So here in this shloka, Bhagavan has stated that Brahman is not available for the perception called existence. So, Satchabda Pratyaya Avishayatvat, since Brahman is not an object to be stated by the perception Sat, that is existent, Asatva Shankayam, a person might easily come to the conclusion that Brahman is non-existent, because when we say that the pot is existent, then the pot can be perceived. But then when we say that the pot is non-existent, then such a pot cannot be perceived. So in the same way, if Brahman is said to be non-existent by using the word asat, then, and even Brahman is stated to be not a perception, not an object of perception for the term sat also. So that is the problem. So a person can easily conclude that such an object, such a Brahman is non-existent. Asatva shankayam gneyasya sarvaprani karana upadi dvarena tadastitvam pratipadayan. So Bhagavan now decides to present this very truth, that is the Brahman, which is Nirguna Brahman, by showing it to be something which is endowed with some upadis. So this kind of a method of presentation is called Adhyaropa Apavada, and Bhagavad Pada explains that very beautifully here. So that Neyam Brahman is presented to the seeker as something that is available so easily for perception all over the world, everywhere around us. Pratipadayin tadashanka nivrityarthama. So that doubt that if Brahman is not an object of perception for the word Chat, that is existent, then such a Brahman can easily be concluded to be non-existent. So that kind of a misconception or a doubt needs to be cleared. So Bhagavan says now, Sarvata Panipadam Tate Sarvatokshi Shiromukham Sarvata Shrutimal Loke Sarvamavritya Tishtati. So the shloka means this Brahman is what is available to all of us, to our everyday perception, as all the beings with hands, eyes, head, feet, and all that. So nobody can deny that. So that is, nobody can deny that we are perceiving persons with head and all that, legs and hands, feet, and all the organs, sense organs and motor organs. So nobody can deny that. So Brahman is presented to be available to everybody's perception through these with these adjuncts. Sarvataha Panipadam Tate. So everywhere Brahman is having hands, feet. Tat Sarvatokshi Shiromukham. Sarvataha Akshi Shiraha Mukham. That is, Akshi is eyes, Shiras is head, and Mukham is mouth. Sarvata Shrutimal Loke, and everywhere it is the one which is available with ears. Sarvam Avritya Tishtati. So Brahman is the one which is available to us as something pervading everything in creation. So for that, now Bhagavad Pada gives a very beautiful explanation how this Brahman can be said to be endowed with these eyes and all that. Panipadam sarvataha panayaha padascha asya iti sarvatah panipadam tate gneyam. Sarvataha panipadam, sarvataha panayaha padascha. Everywhere Brahman is having hands and feet. Asya iti, and all the hands and feet that we are seeing everywhere are Brahman's hands and feet. And all the faces and all that head and other we are seeing, encountering, are Brahman's head, eyes, etc., etc. So that's how Brahman is presented. Sarva prani karana upadivihi kshetrasya astitvam vibhagyate. So this the existence of this kshetrajna astitvam vibhagyate. The existence of kshetrajna, that is Brahman, is now being presented as something which is endowed with these upadis of all the body mind complexes of all the jivas. Sarva prani karana upadi. Karana is sense organs and motor organs. Karana means simply instruments. So instruments are further divided as sense organs and motor organs. That is karmendriya and jnanendriya. And karana will also mean the inner organ, that is the antakarna. So that is also karanam only. So kshetragnasya astitvam vibhagyate. So now the doubt that whether such a kshetrajna exists at all, because it is not it has been stated to be not an object of perception for the term sat existence. So that doubt has been now cleared. So it is definitely available, and it is not something which is non-existent. So kshetragnasya kshetropaditaha uchyate. So kshetrajna is now stated to be something are presented as something which is endowed with Kshetra Upadhi, that is the creation which is of the Prakriti. So that Prakriti itself is being stated to be an Upadhi for this Brahman, that is Kshetrajna. In one way, we can say that this Kshetra Upadhi, that is the Kshetra that we see, the whole of the universe, without leaving out anything, the cosmic forms and the other forms that we see as individuals and all that, the oceans and forests and mountains and all that, everything is Vishwarupa only. So the Bhagavad Gita also endorses this idea that a person can definitely appreciate Brahman as appearing as this whole Vishwa. So here also we get the same idea. Kshetragnascha kshetropaditaha uchate. So Kshetragna is being taught or presented as something which is endowed with this upadhi, which is the whole kshetram itself. So the whole kshetram is an upadhi for kshetragna. So this is how it is presented now. Kshetram cha panipadadibihi anekada binnam. Bhagavad Gita beautifully says that this kshetram, that what we see now, is definitely is assorted. It is we see so many distinctions here. So panipadadibihi anekada binnam. Panipadadibihi adipadena, you can include everything. Nadi, samudram, everything we can include, and it is binnam. It is so distinct. That is, it has got so much of variety in it. But then the one which is the upahita, that is the one to which this adjunct of variety is added, that is one only. So that one only is appearing to us as many. So this is a method of presenting that Brahman, which is one. Kshetropadi bhedakritam vishesha jatam michaiva kshetrasya iti tadapanenena netvam muktam na sattan nasadukhyate iti. Now Bhagavad Gita now beautifully links this shloka to the earlier shloka and justifies why that Brahman was presented in the earlier shloka as nasadukhyate. Why it was stated to be something which cannot be expressed as existent and which cannot be expressed as non-existent. Such a thing is Brahman. Why it was said, that justification Bhagavad Gita gives here. Kshetropadi bhedakritam vishesha jatam mityaiva kshetragnasya. Since the kshetropadi, the vishesha jatam, that is the variety of objects and beings that we see in the world, is actually mithya. It is not real for kshetrajna. So kshetrajna is the one truth, whereas this kshetram, which of variety, is not real. That is mithya. So now what Bhagavan is doing is, he is giving the mithya object as an upadhi for the Satya Brahman. That is the beauty here. That is, Satya Brahman is the only Satyam without any second of any nature. But then we are seeing this world of variety, and that world is to be taken as an indicator, linka, to show that Brahman is the one which is behind this whole creation. And ultimately, it will transpire that the upadhi that we are seeing through is actually mithya, and the Satyam is the one which we have to discern as the adhishtanam for this variety that is the creation. Iti tad apanayanena. Apanayanam is rejecting or dispelling, or the opposite of which is apavada. So apanayanam is apavada. So iti tad apanayanena jnetvam. So that tad apanayanena jnetvam muktam nasattan nasadukhyate iti. So Bhagavan himself, in the previous shloka itself, he has already done that apavada. Now he is doing the avdharopa. So the apavada has been done already. The dispelling has been done already, and now the superimposition is being done here. So that's how the Bhagavad Gita links this shloka to the earlier one. Then a question might arise that how can that be true? Because logically, first you have to do the adhyaropa, and only then you can do the apavada. That question is there. But then the method of teaching can take this form also. First showing the apavada and then showing the adhyaropa. So this kind of a method is used in the Brahma Sutras also. It has been stated by some very great exponents of Brahma Sutras, that how so many methodologies have been employed in the very sutras themselves. So here we can see one such method here. the apavada is done first and then the adhyaropa is shown. But then only a master exponent can present these kind of methods through this exposition. So that's what we are seeing in Bhagavad Gita's Bhashya here. Ubadikritam mithya rupamapi astitva adhigamaya ne dharmavate parikalpya uchyate sarvata panipadam tate iti panipadam iti ityadi. Ubadikritam mithya rupamapi. Since the upadhi is only is mithya, even though it is mithya, astitva adhigamaya, just with a view to inform the aspirant that such a Brahman is existent. It should not be concluded to be non-existent, with the sole view of presenting it to be helping the aspirant appreciate that Brahman is existent. It is not non-existent, that this upadhi is added or it is superimposed on Brahman. Ne dharmavate parikalpya. It is shown as though this is a attribute of that Brahman, which is Gneyam here. So this body-mind complexes, all jivas, which can be extended to the inner things like oceans, etc., etc., they are all presented to be an upadhi of this Brahman. Parikalpya, that is, it is a superimposition. It is a this kind of it's a lie actually. So it's a lie is spoken in order to show a truth. So parikalpya uchyate sarvata panipadan ityadi. Tatha hi sampradayavidam vachanam. Now Bhagavad Pada endorses that by saying that the sampradaya, the Vedantas, the knowers of this Vedantic method, they have coined a kind of a phrase or a maxim, and that maxim is adhyaropa apavadabhyam nishprapancham prapanchate. So Bhagavad Pada cites this as a maxim, and he says that it is a maxim which has been coined by his earlier acharya. Sampradaya is an earlier acharya. Nobody has actually identified this author of this particular maxim, but then we had an occasion to see this maxim in Gaudapadacharya's admitted work called Uttara Gita Bhashyam. There we find this statement, but there also it cannot be very categorically stated that whether it is Gaudapada's own coining or he himself is citing someone who is earlier to him. So this statement is found there. So adhyaropa apavadabhyam nishprapancham prapanchate. What it means is by superimposing and negating, adhyaropa is superimposing, deliberate superimposing, and apavada is negating that superimposition. By this method, nishprapancham prapanchate, that Brahman which is devoid of all creation, all prapancha, the whole prapancha that we see is denied in Brahman. That Brahman is prapanchate, that is expounded. So adhyaropa apavadabhyam nishprapancham prapanchate is the maxim here, which is employed by Bhagavan. It is something like the laws of gravity, which are stated, but then that the gravity, that force itself is not created. It is only explained to this through these laws. In the same way, this concept is there already, and it is only given name by the acharyas to expound it. So adhyaropa apavadabhyam nishprapancham prapanchate iti. Sarvatra. So now he is again coming back to the shloka, meaning of the shloka. Sarvatra sarvadeha avayavatvena gamyamanaha panipadadayaha gneshakti sadbhava nimitta swakaryaha iti gne sadbhave lingani gneyasya iti upacharataha uchyate. So sarvatra sarvadeha avayavatvena, everywhere around us we see body-mind complexes. Sarvadeha avayavatvena. Avayava is the various parts of the body, the limbs and all that. Avayavatvena gamyamana. We perceive the hands, feet, etc. as the parts of a jiva, of a person, or animal also, or any living being. Gneya shakti sadbhava nimitta swakaryaha iti. Gneya shakti sadbhava nimitta swakaryaha. That is, this Gneya shakti sadbhava. Gneya is this Brahman. Its shakti, and its shakti has got one element called sat. So that sadbhava nimitta swakaryaha. So this the body-mind complexes that we see as the parts of the jivas around us are actually the effects, or that is the effect in the sense of cause effect. So cause effect, in the sense of cause effect, these are all effects of that Brahman's Shakti only. Iti Jnaya Sadbhave Lingani. So because they are of that nature, they are all actually the lingam. Lingam is an indicators for the existence of Brahman. So here the idea is that how do you say that Brahman exists? We say Brahman exists by seeing all these body-mind complexes around us and inferring that Brahman, if these body-mind complexes are all of Brahman, so since we see these body-mind complexes and we are not able to see the Brahman which is beyond our sense perception, we infer that it is Brahman which is showing itself, or it is appearing itself, or it is manifesting itself to us through this body, through these organs of these all bodies, body-mind complexes. So there is the inferences, anumanam here. Tatha vyakhyayam anyate. So in the same way, here we have to, the same explanation has to be given to each and every organ that is stated in this shloka. Sarvataha panipadam tat, that is this that which is having legs and feet is Jnayam. So this Sarvata Panipadam is a Bahuvri Samasa, where we have to break down this Samasa by saying that Sarvataha Panayaha Padadayaha Tat Sarvata Panipadam, that is Brahman Jnayam. That is the one which is to be known as Brahman for liberation. Sarvatokshi Shiromukam, that is another phrase here in the shloka. Sarvataha Akshini Shiramsi Mukhanicha Yasya Tate Sarvatokshi Shiromukam. That is the Akshi is eyes, Akshini eyes, Shiramsi is heads, Mukhani is mouths, Yasya Tate Sarvatokshi Shiromukam. So that one which is that being, that cosmic being, that one Virat being, the one which has all over, everywhere, heads and mouths and all that, is that Brahman, Sarvatokshi Shirumukam, Sarvataha Shrutimate. That is another phrase in the shloka. That is, Shrutihi is Shravanendriyam, that is the ears, Tate Yasya Tate Shrutimate. So that one which is having ears all over is that Brahman, which is called Shrutimate. Loke Prani Nikaye. In this world, there is Prani Nikaya, the assemblage or the collection of all the jivas, jiva jate, sarvam avritya samvyapya tishtati sthitim labate. So this Brahman, which is beyond our sense perceptions, is actually pervading the whole of this creation, which is consisting of this chara chara jagat. But only the chara has been shown here, the achara has to be inferred by it, supplied by us. So that's how this Brahman is presented in this shloka. So now comes the Apavada part. This shloka is the Adhyaropa part, that is the heads, feet and all that were superimposed on Brahman, and now the negation of all those is undertaken in the next shloka. Upadi Panipadadi Indriya Adhyaropanate Jnayasya Tadvata Shanka Mabhut Ityevam Arthaha Shlokarabha. So now Bhagavad Gita says why this next shloka is relevant, how it is presented and how it is relevant here. Upadi Bhuta Panipadadi Indriya Adhyaropanate Jnayasya Tadvata Shanka. Since when the seeker or the aspirant hears that the heads, feet, etc., are all upadis and which have been superimposed on Brahman, he might conclude that, okay, Brahman is something which is indeed endowed with all these things. So that kind of conclusion is also wrong. So that also has to be clarified. That conclusion has to be avoided. So Tadvata Shanka Mabhut iti Tadvata is that the Brahman which is endowed with all these things. So that also has to be, so the first, if the Adhyarapa was made with a view to ward off the doubt that Brahman does not exist. And by superimposing all these on Brahman, it was shown that no, Brahman does exist because these things are existing. So the one which holds these things naturally must exist. And now, if someone concludes that, okay, that Brahman is endowed with all these things, that also is to be warded off. So that's why this shloka is in place to accomplish that task. So Mahabhuti Tevamartaha shloka arambaha Sarvendriya Gunabhasam Sarvendriya Vivarjitam Asaktam Sarvabhrichaiva Nirgunam Gunabhoktricha. So the shloka means Sarvendriya Gunabhasam. So if Brahman is actually devoid of the attributes of all the organs. That is, organs have attributes like, for example, the ear can hear, the eyes can see, etc., like that. So, Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, this Brahman is devoid of all the attributes of all the Indriyas. Sarvendriya, and it is devoid of the Indriyas also. So, first the attributes of the Indriyas, that is what all Indriyas can do, that has been denied, and now the Indriyas themselves are being denied in Brahman. Sarvendriya Vivarjitam, Asaktam. Now some other attributes are being stated for Brahman. Asaktam Sarvabhrichaiva. Asaktam is it is not having any kind of attachment to anything. Sarvabhrichaiva, and this is the one which is bearing everything. That is, everything is superimposed on this. Then this is Nirgunam, which is free from the effects of all the three gunas, that is Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, and Guna Bhoktricha, and it is the one which is actually experiencing or enjoying. Enjoying is not in the sense of just positive sense, but it's also the miseries also. So both pleasures and pains that jivas encounter are actually encountered by them through the Indriyas only. And it is only Brahman which is encountering all these pleasures and pains through these sense organs of all the jivas. So Brahman is the one entity which is having so many mouths, so many eyes, etc., through which it is experiencing this whole of the creation, pleasures and pains. So that is the meaning of the shloka. So here we will just see one or two sentences and then conclude this session. Sarvendriya Gunabhasam Sarvani cha tani indriyani shrotradini buddhindriya karmendriyakhyani antakarane cha buddhi manasi neyopadittasya tulyatvat sarvendriya grahanena grishyante. So here in this sentence, Bhagavad says, that is, Sarvanita Tani Indriyani, all the Indriyas. And those Indriyas are now, we know that they are both Karmendriyas and Jnanendriyas. So Shrotradini is Buddhi Indriyani, that is Jnanendriya. Then Karmendriyas, we know, hands, feet, the organs for ejection and recreation and all that, and speech. These are the 5 Karmendriyas. So Buddhindriya, Karmendriyani, Akhyani, Antakarane cha Buddhi Manasi. So since Antakarana is also a Karana, Buddhi and Manas, they belong to the Antakarana, that is the inner organs. So the outer organs are the Karmendriya and Jnanendriya, and the inner organs, then Neopadittvasya Tulyatvat. Since this Buddhi Manasi, Manas, and Bhagavad is adding this remark because this Antakaranam has not been stated by Bhagavan, or she has not explicitly stated in the shloka. So Bhagavad says that it is implicit. So Antakarane cha Buddhi Manasi Neopadittvasya Tulyatvat. Since this is also an upadi of that name Brahman, Sarvendriya Grahanena Grishyante. So by the word Sarvendriya in the shloka, we have to include this Antarindriyam, that is the Antakaranam, which is Buddhi and Manas also. So with this, we will conclude this session. Arayana Parovyakta Dandam Avyakta Sambhavam Andasyantastume Loka Saptadvipa Chamedini Shastram Sharira Mimamsa Devastu Parameshwaraha Acharya Shankaracharya Santume Janmajinmani Vidyavinaya Sampannam Vitaragam Vivekinam Vande Vedanta Tattvajnam